Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me on the first episode of Real Estate for Millennials. My name is Sara Shahmoradian, aka Millennial Realtor LA. And today we are going to talk about the first step of the buying experience, which is find a realtor you can trust and analyze your needs in a consultation. So today joining us is Thomas Atamian. Thank you so much for being here. I am on part of Thomas's team. So Thomas is our team leader, which I'm very lucky to be a part of. So if you don't mind just introducing yourself and telling us a background.
Sure. So I moved out here from Chicago, not really knowing much about real estate. Started just kind of shadowing other realtors and seeing what they do in their everyday life, and just kind of fell in love with it and have been doing it ever since. We built a team out here. We have 6 members on our team now, and have sold over $400 million of real estate, ranging from vacant land to condos to multi-million dollar estates, all the way down to San Diego, and then all the way up to selling commercial properties in the Bay Area. So we're a one-stop shop for anything real estate, lease, buy, or we have a really good niche with investment properties as well. So
Yep, he's the real deal. Okay, so let's start by defining the difference between a brokerage and a realtor.
So this term gets thrown out a lot. Realtor, broker. Basically, when an agent goes to pass their salesperson's test, that's the first step. And then later on, if they want to open up their own brokerage, they pass just another test to become a broker. That just allows them to open up a brokerage down the line. And similar to the much bigger brokerages like Compass and some of the other bigger ones.
Right. So our brokerage is Compass, and we are realtors under Compass. And that's it. That's as simple as it gets.
Yeah.
So in your experience, what is the most important thing a client's looking for in a realtor?
So I think, trust is the biggest factor for, anybody dealing in sales, and especially at this level, because this is probably the biggest investment and biggest asset, biggest purchase that anybody is going to make. So, having somebody that you trust, having somebody that is always looking out for your best interest, and somebody that you like. I mean, you're not going to work with somebody if you don't like them. So somebody that you kind of click with on a personal level. But I think trust is the biggest thing. So, you don't want somebody that is out there just trying to, force a property down your throat, or say that, this is a fit when it's not. So, a lot of times having that trust and knowing that they're really just looking out for your best interest and your investment down the line.
Yeah.
I think that's the best thing.
Yeah. And you always taught me that connecting with a client on more than just, selling a house or a property is really important. And that's like your main goal, is to connect with somebody on a personal level, on their interests and so on. So it's really important to actually click with your agent, because you are going to be talking to them almost every day for like 2 months.
And you become very close. I mean, a lot of our clients that we work with end up being very good friends by the end of the transaction, even if they are strangers at the beginning of the transaction.
Right.
So, anytime you're going through something that is stressful or, hard to do, then, the person that you're doing that with, you end up becoming closer at the end. So
and making that connection, that bond.
Yeah. So, our goal is to make everything as stress-free as possible and as seamless as possible. And, that's why it's really good to be, working with someone that deals a lot with first-time home buyers. So,
yeah. So how do you find a realtor?
I've always thought that the best way, if I was looking for a realtor, would be to ask, friends or family, somebody that has, already gone through a transaction with that realtor. I think that's the best way, is word of mouth and having a referral from somebody else that has already had a transaction with that person and seen them at their best, seen them at their worst, and we're able to help the other person and then provide that same service for the next person.
Especially if you're a first-time home buyer, I think building that connection and trust is extra important. So you want to you want to work with somebody who you know has experience with other first-time home buyers and that will treat you the same and will guide you in the same way that they did maybe your friend or a family member.
And the other thing is you have some agents that have maybe been in the business for a long time, so their experience is valuable, but maybe they don't deal as much with first-time home buyers.
Hmm.
So they may not have the patience, or
Yeah.
they may not want to deal with those kind of questions all the time. And so that's why Sara's certified as a first-time home buyer specialist, and that gives her a unique advantage over a lot of other realtors.
Thanks. Thank you for that. Let's start talk about what the difference is with working with a realtor or an iBuyer or not working with a realtor at all.
So I think, the biggest thing with, a lot of buyers will look online. I mean, I think the number is probably 98,
Especially
99%.
with millennials.
Right. So
Yeah.
millennials are going to, they're going to look not on, they don't even probably look on their laptop, they're looking on their phone,
Yeah.
or, so they're looking at, properties, and I think that's good. I think there's a
Mhm.
lot more information out there now, that our role has kind of shifted from being kind of the gatekeeper for information to now we're more of the advisor.
Right.
So, it used to be that, we would have the information to all the listings, and the buyers would have to contact us. Now they already have the information. They know when it was listed, when it was, when the price was reduced, who it was listed by, when it was relisted. So now our goal is really to just guide them to make sure it's the right property for them, and make sure that they're not overpaying for the property. So that's the difference of having a realtor, having an experienced, concierge that is walking you, shepherding you through the
Hmm.
deal, and making sure you're not losing money along the way, because there's a lot of money in real estate. And so, with inspections and appraisal, and you really need somebody that is going to guide you through the entire
Right.
process. Otherwise, there's just too many ways that things can fall through the cracks. So
Yeah, I also want to add that this is our job. So your 9 to 5 is one thing, and we're taking the time to find properties to show you. So I get asked a lot, like, why should I work with a realtor? It's like when you're at your job, we're doing our job to help you and to save time for you. And we're going to take you to the properties that we think are best suited for you.
yeah, I mean, we are the ones that vet through the properties
Hmm.
to make sure, because on the MLS everything looks the best it's
Yeah.
going to look. You have the wide
Yeah.
angle lenses. They're not going to show you that it's next to a alley or backs up to a
A
garbage
freeway.
dump or freeway or whatever it is. So our job is to know that area, and to make sure that we curate a specific list of properties for them to see. And
Mhm.
then our job, that's kind of the fun part for us, is to show the property. And but our job really doesn't start until we are negotiating on your behalf and trying to get your offer accepted, number one. And then once it's accepted, making sure that we follow all the correct steps throughout the process to make sure that we don't miss anything, and so to make sure that you don't end up it doesn't end up costing you more in the long run.
Right. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Let's go into exclusive buyer broker agreement. So this is a contract that not a lot, but some realtors
Mm-hmm.
have their clients sign. And I just want to explain to, new buyers, what is this and should a buyer sign it?
Yeah, so a lot of people aren't even aware of this, but they're just like with when a seller decides to sell their property and they sign an agreement to have you list the property. There is also an agreement for buyers to sign to make sure that they only work with you. So there are buyers out, or there are agents out there that ask you to sign it, or require you to sign it before they will even take you out looking at property.
Mhm.
Um, we've never done that with our team. We just feel that there's kind of an implicit trust, and when we have a buyer consultation, when we meet with a buyer, we're deciding on both sides, whether it's a good fit, so that we can work together.
Mhm.
And so we don't feel like we want to put any added pressure or added stress on somebody saying that they absolutely have to use us. We're confident in our skills that we're going to show them the best customer service and the best representation
Mhm.
possible. so that they will want to work with us and they will want to trust
Yeah,
us.
that's exactly it. So
Yeah.
I want my clients to want to work with me,
Right.
not to have to work with me because they signed this
Feel
contract in the
forced.
beginning.
We look at it as if, if we're buying a car or buying anything else, how we want to be treated when we're dealing with other salespeople,
Right.
and to not be pushy and to basically only look out for their best interest.
Right. Okay,
Mhm.
that's great.
Yeah.
I get asked this a lot,
Mhm.
especially with first time home buyers, that they think that working with a listing agent is basically the only way they're going to get a house. So, is that true? And do you agree with dual agency? And do you think that's the best way to move forward?
So, dual agency is obviously, when the, agent is representing both the buyer and the seller. And most people don't know this, but it's actually illegal in a lot of states in the U.S. So, the main reason for that is that, when a seller signs an agreement with the agent is saying that they have a fiduciary responsibility to that seller, that I'm going to look out for the best interest of the seller. We're trying to get the highest amount of money for that house. Now a buyer walks in, and now the agent's going to represent the buyer also. So their responsibility is to the buyer now, and to make sure that they try to get the best price on the house. So those things conflict.
Right.
So in my opinion, it's always best to have, in majority of cases, it's best to have your own representation that is only looking out for you. And it does come up, especially in multiple offer situations, and sometimes you are able to get the house, but what how much money could you potentially be losing in disclosure issues and inspection issues? There's a lot of issues, liability problems that could come up with dual agency. So if you are going to do it, I would be very careful. And but it's very hard for somebody to look out for the best interest of two people. So that's why when we have a team, if I have a listing and a buyer comes in, I will give them off to one of my agents, and then we just battle it out. We just negotiate it so that you're looking out for the best interest of the buyer, I'm looking out for the best interest of the seller, and we don't cross paths with information. Right. We're just negotiating back and forth. So I think that's the best way. I think you always need an advocate, especially when you're buying the biggest asset of your life. You want somebody that's only looking out for your best interest. You don't want to think, well, this agent's making double the commission, so they're gonna try to cut corners to try to make this deal happen.
Especially for your first home too.
Right.
When you've never done it before and you're going in it for the first time, it's very strange to me that people would take the risk and go with a dual agency, because how do you know that listing agent is really looking out for you and is guiding you in the right way? And I've heard a lot that, these dual agencies come out with more problems than going in.
A lot of the lawsuits that are related to this type of deal is related to dual agency.
Yeah.
Because a buyer finds out that the seller didn't disclose something, or that there was an inspection that wasn't disclosed, something that comes out later, and a lot of that has to do with dual agency.
Yeah. So yeah, it makes sense to me. Also, side note is that when any offer goes in to a listing agent, they have to show the clients, right? So they have to show the seller. So even if you come in with a different agent, that offer is going to be shown to the client. So if it is the strongest offer, there's no reason for you not to get that.
Yeah.
To get the house, right? So I get nervous when people ask me this. They're like, "Oh, the only way is if the listing agent's going to push my offer forward." It's like that's illegal.
Yeah.
Like you can't do that. So it's important to know that no matter what offer you put in, it is going to be shown to the seller. So just something to know.
Yeah.
And so how does a buyer's agent get paid?
So even a lot of people don't know this, but a buyer's agent is paid through the seller's commission, or the seller pays the commission for both the buyer's agent and the seller's agent. So when you're working with a buyer, there's nothing out of pocket. So they're basically looking for free for you. They represent you for free. There's no cost at all on your side. So it's something important. That's why you want to make sure you find a good agent. But whether they're sending you properties or they're researching properties for you, it's all at no cost to you.
Right. So that's another reason why you should be working with a realtor
Definitely.
and not doing it on your own. There's literally no cost to you. So why not? Why not work with an agent?
Correct. Yeah.
Right. Okay, let's talk about teams. So I know a lot of people, even I got asked yesterday about someone who wants to be a realtor and they were like, should I join a team? And teams work very differently. Every team works differently. I just want to clarify what a team is, and does this help a client when they're working with a realtor that's on a team?
So I started on a team, and then I ended up starting my own team, and they've become a lot more prevalent in real estate. But I think the main advantage for a buyer is the fact that, when you're working with a member on a team, that team, we have weekly meetings, we talk about what everybody's looking for, and so we kind of help each other out in terms of, now you have the power of 6 people that it's on their radar what this person is looking for, and we bounce things back all the time, and we've sold properties in that way. Instead of just having one person looking for you, you have 6 people that are aware of what you're
Right.
looking for. The other thing is availability.
Right.
So
Huge thing.
a lot of times, like if I'm out of the country, or if somebody else is on vacation, somebody on my team is showing my clients properties, and vice versa. So if you only have one person and they're on vacation, you're kind of stuck on who's going to show you property. So I feel like, with a team, you're always going to have somebody available. You're always going to have somebody there to answer your call, answer your email, and to show you property. Because this business it's hour by hour. It's, you could have a property that has no offers right now, and in 5 hours from now, there's 3 offers on it. So it's a very, time is of the essence in this business. And so you want to make sure you have somebody that's on top of it, because there's deadlines for offers. So if there's a 12 p.m. deadline and your agent's not here, or they aren't available, that could be the difference between you getting the house and you not getting the house.
I think that our team is my backup. You know, like they're my backup team, and you as my team leader is my mentor and my guide to get all my questions answered and to handle a situation the best as possible. And then I have other team members that I rely on, that, if I can't do something, they can do it for me.
Absolutely.
So, and vice versa, so I think it's really important, and I'm really lucky to be on a team. And I believe that agents on a team have that reinforcement, and that's how I feel. Okay, so I think we're all done with the questions. I just want to ask you, do you have any other tips for first-time home buyers? Do you have any advice that you think they really should know before leaving the show?
So I think just how sellers meet with multiple agents to find out which agent is right for them to list the house. I recommend a buyer to interview 2 or 3 agents to find the right realtor that fits for them. I think a lot of times, buyers will meet with someone, and they'll just kind of get stuck into working with them. So I think you really want to make sure that you're working with the right person, especially if you're a first-time home buyer, to work with somebody that is certified as a first-time home buyer specialist, and that you connect with. I think it's, another mistake that, when they see on Zillow, we didn't really talk about Zillow too much, but on Zillow, there's a program called Premier Agent, where agents will pay money to appear as the listing agent. And so a lot of people will call them thinking that they're the listing agent, or thinking that they're the local expert, where they just paid money to be on that site. So a lot of times people will get, kind of bait and switched on that. And I think it's important to just make sure you go through the proper steps to find the right agent, and make sure that they're fulfilling all your needs and are on top of it. Because like I said, if you don't have a good agent on the buyer side, it could make the difference between you getting the property and not. And most buyers don't want to have this as their hobby. They don't want, looking at open houses on the weekend, and you want somebody that's going to be on top of it. And if you're motivated to buy, to have somebody to find the right property and get it accepted for you. So that's our specialty, is getting offers accepted, and then negotiating during escrow to make sure that we're saving you the most amount of money possible.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this could be a very overwhelming process looking at
Hmm.
houses. And I always tell my buyers, don't look more than 4 or 5 houses at a time because they literally jumble into one in your brain and you can't figure out. You get so flustered that you're just like, I don't want any of them,
You
or
forget a lot of, yeah,
you
it's a good tip.
forget, So
Yeah.
that was very good advice.
Mhm.
My 2 points I just wanted to make was to make your expectations known early to your realtor. So tell them what your criteria is, tell them what your schedule's like, tell them how much you want to be contacted or when you want to be contacted. Those are really important. And tell them ahead of time and tell them in the very beginning so that they know what you expect from them. And the second one is don't sign anything you don't understand. I think this is super important and
Hmm.
really important for first time home buyers because I think first time home buyers get, again, overwhelmed and they just like sign and
Hmm.
don't look at really what they're signing. So if you see something that you don't understand, you want to be able to ask your realtor about it and you want to be able to trust their guidance about if you should sign it or not. So definitely don't sign anything that you don't understand.
And just one more thing in terms of like communication, you want to make sure that your agent is communicating with you and in the way that you want to be communicated with. So I know a lot of the millennials are don't even know what this phone is, that it's actually used to make calls. So a lot of times they want to be only via text or
Yeah.
email or Instagram message or Snapchat, whatever it is. But you want to find out, as an agent, that's one of the first things that we find out is how do you want to be communicated
Hmm.
with? Because if they're texting us and then we're communicating in a different way, we want to make sure it's as easy as possible and make sure that we're communicating with them the way that they want to be
Yeah,
communicated with.
and
That's
I've
all.
learned in my in the program that I took to be a specialist, I learned that first time homebuyers have more people involved than just themselves.
Yeah.
So as a realtor, you want to make sure that you're contacting these people the way that they want to be contacted. So if a parent is involved, they probably don't want to be texted in the middle of the night. They want a phone call in the morning and so on. So there's it varies between
Absolutely. And you have to know
people and
your audience
clients.
and know how to communicate with
Yeah,
them.
so that's
So,
really important to know.
mhm.
That's all.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you for joining me on the first episode. Thank you for being here and co-hosting with me.
Thanks for having me, and check out more of her podcasts at Millennial Realtor LA.
LA. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks.
Bye.